but it's exactly the same things. I think that would be interesting in a discussion afterwards, to kind of discuss. There's so many similarities, and I think the people at the very bottom of society, the invisible people who have no voice, it's the same structures that we need to tackle to overcome the cycle of poverty. The young people that I work with, they're coming from intergenerational cycles of poverty. It's gone on for generations in their family, and I think it's only by breaking it through lots of different approaches and breaking that cycle that they can actually go on and not repeat it. And one of the things as well, the young people that we work with, young people from these kind of backgrounds, when they go on to college, there's a massive dropout rate when they go to college. So that's one of the things that we try and instill them by working with them throughout their teenage years. We work with them for 3 or 4 years, every single week over a 3-year period. And I think by working on them long term, they can kind of build up their self-esteem and their confidence, so that by the time they get to college, they're going to stay at college. And we also work with them while they're at college as well, because I think there's when they get into this kind of different environment, when they're going into college, and they're meeting all these other people that they've never met before, it's really intimidating. And I think that's one of the things as well about breaking the cycle of poverty. It's that feeling of self-worth, and no matter how hard you've worked, you never feel like you're good enough, and you always have that kind of lack of confidence and self-esteem. And I think that's actually really at the heart of breaking the cycle of poverty. It's about raising your confidence and your self-esteem. And I know even for myself, like I've worked at lots of prestigious international institutions and things, but I've always felt like I was never good enough. And even now in Dublin, like if I have meetings in like 5-star hotels or whatever with people who want to meet me there, I feel really, really intimidated. So that's one of the things about the program that I run. I've found the fanciest building that I could find in Dublin, and it's full of chandeliers and gold on the walls and red carpet. And we do that on purpose because it's psychological. When we run the program, it's really prestigious and it's really fancy, and it means that they feel they can go anywhere in life, because that's really about building up their confidence and that they can know they can do anything that they want. And finally, the other side of it as well, with breaking the cycle, it's not just about change within the young people. It's not just about them changing their mindset. It's about the people at the top. They have to change their mindset as well. And that's one of the things that we practice. We work with at the highest level incomes. We work with ministers, Supreme Court judges, all kinds of people, and we get them to take our young people on to employ them, to work for them in the top 4 law firms and all the big institutions. And they work with senators, they work with ministers, all these kinds of people, because it's only by them changing their mindset and saying, just because someone has a working class accent doesn't mean they can't do the job. They're probably better at the job because they've had to live with their wits most of their lives. They're determined, they've got drive, they've got ambition, they've got resilience. It's about them realising that they need to employ these people as well, that they need to make the change. Their mindset has to change as well. You're not going to break the cycle without the people at the top changing their mindset.
Question for the panel, that we hear your success stories, and I know by now you must have made use of some tools and some inspirations. Can you share those with us, the newbies, who can do something also, because we don't know where to start, and then what tools you use. I want to start education, educating children. Where to start? Where is the curriculum? How do I do it? So how to begin?
I can start. I think one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that we can't do it alone. We need to pull a team together, and we need to bring resources together. And so I would try to understand what your community is. What are the resources in your community, and what are the basic needs? I think one of the things that we heard you talk about was what are the basic needs before they even get to education. You can't leapfrog to enrolling into a university. You need to start with those basic things, and sometimes it's basic principles of, how about taking a location that they need to meet and that they need to be there and show up every day. And sometimes it's that one step of just waking up and coming to learn maybe a simple thing and starting at something very basic where, showing that commitment and what are the obstacles that they're running into from just getting from point A to point B to maybe learn one simple task to start. But I think you have to have a team around you. I think you need to know what your resources are. and where are the gaps for them starting, and then filling those resources. And they're not always just within your own country. I think that there are a lot of us, from what I'm talking with each other, there are a lot of resources and a lot of people that do different things, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, that we can network together. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we're doing with the university in Mauritius, Africa, that we have found a gap in education, which this doesn't reach necessarily the lowest poverty level, but we're addressing what are some of the challenges that students have in trying to get a job once they start to receive their education. And can we actually partner with organizations and corporations to come in and bring part-time jobs while they're actually going through their schooling and their education, that they can work 10 hours a week, and that they can learn what it's like to actually show up at a work and maybe work 3 hours a day, and having those consistencies and those skill sets that they're developing as they're learning their education. But also having that commitment into the program. So if you have a new student that wants to come in, and I'm focusing on education because that's the field that we're going to be working in, but having them be an active participant and having a voice in that. So sometimes if we just give things to people for free, they don't value that. But if you said, here's your education, part of it will be scholarship to help, and then this is your part that you need to do. You need to work 10 hours a week, volunteer at the school, so you're contributing to your own education so that you have a sense of ownership and a responsibility there. But I think that ties back to having a voice too, and that's one of their ways of contributing their voice and their commitment personally.
First, we need to collect the resources for that. That's the point.
From my perspective, as a volunteer, as an NGO, we do advocacy at all levels, at the governmental level. I work, for example, with the French government for gender equality in France. I work also at the European level, and also I go to the CSW every year to New York, it's the Commission on the Status of Women, where you have all the NGOs from around the world who come together with women, and they're pushing for new legislation. And we have agreed conclusions, and we work. My president, of my international NGO, the PW, is the president of the NGO Liaison Committee at New York. So she works with UN Women, and they work with the World Bank, with the private sector and so on, and they try to pass on legislation. So that's one thing. Networks also, networking and networks at all levels, grassroots level, local level, national level, regional, interregional, international are very important. It's very important to make women's rights, and the CEDAW, I don't know if you've heard about the CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Discrimination and against violence, and violence against women, is not, for example, I don't know which state you come from, but the USA is only applied and ratified the CEDAW in Los Angeles, and I don't remember where, but in 2 states, and they're still very backward on that area. So it's very important. We, as a member of not only the French government, but also at the European level, with the European Lobby of Women, and you should go to all that sites, European Lobby of Women, we also advocate for it to be ratified in all the states. So that is very important. Then about education, you have formal, non-formal, and informal education. So informal education is with your family, parents, grandparents, and your peers, which is really very important. And formal is given by the institution, but non-formal would be given in other areas, maybe just with a desk and a chair, in the open air, doesn't matter, but this is also very important. And there are NGOs which also push for early childhood education, which is also very important, because they have also to go to school at a very early age. Now there's also a problem with quality education, and UNESCO is pushing hard because it has a leadership in education. So UNESCO is pushing very hard for quality education for all, as well as all long life learning. Because it's also very important for all these girls who have dropped out of school because of different reasons, for poverty, because they were married at a very early age, because also of poverty, or because they dropped out because they had to care for their sisters, brother, etc. It's very important that once they are women, they are married and children, they can have training, you know, all throughout their life and be empowered. So this is all very important, and we have, and this is the kind of event which is very important, because we can create synergies between each other. And as again, what I said about the forum I co-organized on the role of women in fighting poverty was in all the area, education first, then it was about politics and violence against women more particularly, and then it was about economic with the microcredits and so on, and also the media and communication. At UNESCO, and this is for you, sir, we have what is called GAMAG, which is the GAMAG. It's about gender, action, you know, for equality in the media, because that's the problem. We don't have enough women role models anywhere, and more particularly in the media and in the communication. So this is very important. So we are co-organizing a follow-up to the forum on the role of women in fighting poverty, and we'll have a platform, online platform, so if you are interested, you can get news of it and you can participate in it, okay? So you come to me afterwards and I explain to you again, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we are actually out of time. If you have a minute, if you wanted to send something up.
Yeah. So I suppose I kind of mentioned it previously, but I think what's really, really important is creating these networks. You know, in every society, there's going to be an elite network that have access to the education, the career, everything. And I think one of the things that we've done that's really worked well in terms of breaking the cycle of poverty is by creating a completely new network. So what I do is I would go around, and, you know, in terms of tools, I kind of go around and identify people who are supporters, who are flag bearers of what we're trying to do, like really senior people, like Supreme Court judges, you know, ministers, really, really high level people in the country, and they're the people that kind of support the young people. And I think that's really important to be able to break that cycle. We have people in really high level positions in the country who are willing to kind of support you along that way. You just have to involve faster. You know, that's what I do. I get their private number and ring them up and say, look, I need to meet you. This is what you need to do.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sure we have lunch now, so we're going to let you go. But if you want to continue to talk with us, I will stick around. I'm sure. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but come talk to us either now or later. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.